The Serving Up Discipleship podcast is to help our audience understand the sacred work of service missionaries and why service missions are spiritually transformative and fulfilling. This podcast is produced under the direction of a senior service missionary couple, social media advisors.
Welcome to yet another amazing episode of Serving Up Discipleship. I am your host, Otto Lewis. We have kind of a different situation here. My co-host, Elder Price, is not able to make it, so we have a guest co-host, Sister Waite.
Hey,
Um,
everybody.
uh, she may end up joining us at future podcasts, so stay tuned if that does occur.
If
We
you
have
like an Elder Price, definitely will be here on more future meetings.
And we have a wonderful guest, Sister Jones, on here with us, who we're going to be interviewing. So we're really excited to meet you, Sister Jones. If you wouldn't mind just kind of introducing yourself to us and telling us a little bit about yourself, Sister Jones.
Sure. I'm Sister Jones. I have been on my mission for 11 months, which is kind of crazy and a little gross. But that's good. It's okay. I served in the Bentonville, Arkansas mission for about 7-ish months, and I've been in the Utah St. George mission as a service missionary for about 3, almost 4, which is also gross, but we're loving it and it's great. But a little bit about me: I am a singer-songwriter and love sharing my talents, and I love Jesus. So
Awesome. Thank you, Sister Jones. I get it. I really do. I have 4 months left, or maybe less. So it is,
wow.
I agree, very gross. So yeah, definitely. Okay. So we like to ask this of every missionary because we like to kind of get a feel for different missionaries. We just kind of want to know what your schedule, your day-to-day schedule as a service missionary is.
Sure, yeah. So now for sure I have P days on Monday. Yay, we love P days. And it's great. On Tuesdays what do I do on Tuesdays? Just a second, let my brain work for a second. I'm a teacher's aide at a high school for a theater class. And I also go to the Family History Center and I help with rehearsals for the musical that's going on at the high school as well. On Wednesdays, I'm at a humanitarian center in Mount Pleasant, and I'm also at a food bank in the same Mount Pleasant. We love Mount Pleasant. On Thursdays, I'm at a museum. I'm at the Pioneer Park Museum in Ephraim, Utah, and then I go to a humanitarian center in Manti. And then I just said Thursdays. On Fridays, I go back to the Pioneer Park Museum, and then on Saturdays, I'm an ordinance worker at the Payson Temple.
Awesome. So we always ask this. I don't know why we don't just put it as part of our agenda, but here we are. What is your favorite assignment as a service missionary?
Oh, that's so hard because I love them all. I really do. Like, I'm not saying that as like they're all so good. I just like genuinely love my schedule. But if I had to choose something, I would probably say working in the Payson Temple because that's just been such a big blessing for my life. So
That's the general consensus. Is almost every single missionary says that serving as an ordinance worker is their favorite assignment. So don't feel bad with that.
Part of the crowd.
Yeah.
Kind of about serving with me, Sister Jones.
Oh.
Kidding, I'm just kidding. The Payson Temple is definitely better than serving with me. So
hey, if I wasn't working at the Payson Temple, that would be on the top of my list, Sister Waite. Top of my list.
I believe that 100%. Just kidding. One of the questions we have is, what are you glad that you did before your mission that helps you on your mission?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say probably the year I took to go to college and just like live on my own. It helped me a lot, especially on my proselyting mission, because then I wasn't like thrown into having to adult and like buy my own groceries and like do all the things. Um, and I think it helped me really solidify my testimony and like just kind of find who I was a little bit as I like kind of figured out how to life on my own for a little bit, away from my parents, away from my family. And then going on to my mission, it just kind of really helped me adjust into serving and just like doing all the things that I get to do as a missionary.
That's a good one. I did that too, so I definitely recommend anyone who's preparing to go on any type of mission to, try to go to college or go live your life by yourself. Try to figure out what you want to do, see how it works out, because it'll just better prepare you for what the mission is and what it's all about.
Yeah. I lived for a year and a half on my own. I agree with both of them. So it's definitely very helpful. Now, our next question is a little bit similar to one I asked earlier, but it's slightly different. So just pay a little attention. What is your favorite part about being a service missionary?
Oh, okay. Give me a second.
There's just so many about the Utah St. George mission that is
It's
just
serving with
amazing.
Sister Wade, isn't it? It's got to be serving with Sister Wade.
What did you say?
I was gonna say it, but I decided not to because now I'm self-centered. So
I think my favorite. What?
Nothing. Just keep talking.
Okay. My favorite thing about being a service missionary, I think it's being able to involve the Lord in my everyday life, and being able to just be the light in somebody's life, that so many people have been in my life, and to be able to just serve as Jesus served, and just being that example and learning from all the people that I get to serve with and get to be with.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Involving the Lord in our everyday life is a very important aspect of, well, anything, being a disciple. But it's especially important as being a missionary, whether you're teaching or a service missionary. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I like said that it's involved in your everyday life because the mission kind of is just going about doing service, but it's and like working and stuff. Like you would do that on a daily basis off of your mission, and so it's just like learning how to implicate Heavenly Father and Jesus in your daily life more. So I like that. Another kind of similar question, but the next question is, what motivates you as a missionary? Like, what makes you get out of bed in the morning and go out and serve?
Another really good question. It's been a really interesting journey for me because I feel like when I started my mission, I was on my mission because I just felt like I needed to be. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go serve. I want to go, I was just like, okay, I'm here because I need to be. And so, it's really interesting to see like this change that I've had throughout my mission. because at first it was just so hard to get up and moving, and get going. But as I recognized the the beauty and the joy that comes from missionary work, proselyting and service, it's been easier to get up and get moving. And I would say right now my purpose and the reason why I get out of bed is for the people that I get to serve, and for the just like the excitement and the joy of like, okay, what can I do today to make somebody's life better? What can I do today to bring a smile to somebody's face? And I think that's right now that's my big motivator.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I can attest there's no greater feeling than knowing that you were beneficial or instrumental in making someone smile in a day, and it makes you feel so much better about yourself. So thank you for that. So wait, is it time?
Is it that time already? Crazy. That's crazy. I don't have a watch on me.
I was like, what are you looking at? So, Sister Jones, we have this segment that we do with every episode. We've done since the very beginning. It's our question of the week. Now, it is getting more and more difficult to get questions of the week. So, for those of our listeners and or watchers, depending on where listening to this from, if you have any questions you want featured as the question of the week, you just email us at stirringupdiscipleship@gmail.com, and we will do our best to get it out into the podcast. But question of the week for this week is, do service missionaries have mission presidents? And we'll all kind of answer this, but Sister Jones, if you want to go ahead and start us off with this one.
Our mission does. So usually with service missionaries, you have like the service mission leaders that are like over your little part of the world. And then like that's like, I guess your mission president, except for not really mission president, not like a class of mission president. But a lot of missions are integrating the proselyting service missions. And so yes, some service missionaries have like an actual mission president. So I don't know if that was the best way to answer that question, but
You Utah missionaries. See, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. We haven't integrated yet. So my mission president is technically my state president, as of right now. But then that's gonna like switch at the beginning of the year. So I don't know what integrated life is like. And then I'll be a missionary for like 2 months after that, and I'll be gone. So,
you won't even know. You won't even like really get to
no,
experience.
I'll just be like, oh, we're integrated. Peace.
So, yes, I'm in the same mission as Sister Jones, and we recently just integrated, and that was the whole process, and it was crazy. But since we're like the service missionaries in our area, we have like 90 close to, I don't know, but we have a lot of service missionaries in our area. So, and we live like on the farther end of the mission. So the mission president doesn't have like time to interview us often. So as Elder Lewis said, the stake presidents are our mission presidents for most of service missionaries. But I'd say that our mission does pretty good with meeting with our stake presidents regularly, kind of filling in for the mission president because he has a lot of missionaries that he's over. And so we meet with our stake presidents or bishops just to, see how we're doing and to check up on us, kind of, like mission president, counselors type people.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that answered that question well enough. I think that's good. So We're going to move on. We do have a theme. We like to have a theme with every podcast. So this theme for this one is the atonement. So Sister Waite has the first question in relationship to that.
So, this is a good one. So the question is, how has the atonement played an important role in your life as a missionary?
Oh man, I
It's a
love
big
talking
one.
about the atonement. It's it's one of my favoriteest ever topics, but just because it's like it's so simple, yet it's so vast, and there's just like so much that the atonement covers. And I think the just to clarify that the what has the atonement played in a role in my mission, kind of, is that okay? Um I think it's been really interesting because I haven't always been the greatest missionary. And I still feel like I'm not the greatest missionary. But I definitely went through a phase there, in my training in my proselyting mission, where I was just like, oh my goodness, apostate. It was just not good. But I feel like as I've grown closer to Christ, and as I have truly made him a part of my daily life, I feel like I have been able to become the kind of person that, little Sister Jones slash not Sister Jones, because she wasn't Sister Jones then, could imagine me being. And I think with the atonement, I have been able to repent. I've been able to be forgiven, and I've been able to forgive. And I think I give credit to the atonement for making me the person and the missionary that I am today. Because I don't know where I would be if I didn't have Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that, Aaron. I think we all needed to kind of hear that, and thank you.
The atonement is so important. It really is. I wouldn't be a missionary without the atonement. So I get it. It's important. Um, so now we just have a couple more questions, two or three more. The next one is still atonement related. How have you seen others grow through the atonement?
I love this question. So it's been so cool to see the blessings of me choosing to go on a mission. I have 7 siblings, and I love them all dearly. And we're all crazy. So but I remember before I left on my mission, I was especially worried about my brother. Just because I wasn't sure like the path he was going down. I was just like, is he gonna be okay? Is like what's going on in his life, whatever. And I was worried leaving that, I wouldn't be able to be there to support him or anything. And it has been so inspiring to see his journey as I've been a missionary, and just to see how his faith has grown, and he's been doing all the things to get back on the covenant path, and to be the disciple of Jesus Christ that he wants to be. And it was so cool near the beginning of my mission to have like I called him on a P day, and I was talking to him about faith, and we just had like a whole hour discussion just about faith, and just like discussing this. And it was just so cool because I've never really had a discussion like that with my brother. And I've seen him change in a way that I didn't think he could by himself. And when he didn't do it by himself, right, it was through the atonement and through Jesus Christ, and the hope that the atonement gave him to improve his life.
Definitely. Thank you for that. It's always a joyful experience to see your siblings or family changing and growing and becoming better because of atonement, especially when they may not have been exactly going along the path. Seeing them come back is always an amazing feeling. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Just have a couple more questions. So we're almost done, which is sad to say. I love this podcast so much.
Yeah, I think you also helped him kind of start the process of the atonement. It's hard, but it's like so good to see him go through that, but also see him come out the other side of the atonement. And it's really great, the process and the change that the atonement gives to people. The second to last question that we have is, if time oh gosh, darn it. Okay, sorry, I messed up. What has been the hardest thing about the service mission that you have overcome? You have to dig deep and answer that one.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I've completely overcome it, but I'm starting to, and that's progress. But I think one of the hardest things is near the transition between my proselyting mission and my service mission was really interesting. Because I have always struggled getting up in the morning. It was that was my biggest challenge. First of all, getting to sleep at night. And then getting up in the morning. And it was just the whole transition at the very, very beginning of my proselyting mission of bed at 10:30, up at 6:30. It was just it's so difficult. But at the end of my proselyting mission, I kind of got the hang of it. I was in a trio. There's 3 of us as a companionship, and I was getting up and I was going, and it was so good. And I was okay. And then I made the decision to come on a service mission, and I was just okay, I'm gonna take this. It's gonna be a new me. And I came home and I just went right back down to not getting up in the morning, and it was just so difficult. And I think what it was I all of a sudden I was alone. I didn't have that. I didn't have my companion to be okay, Sister Jones, you got this. Let's get up. Let's get going. And I didn't realize I was going to struggle so bad with that, of not having a companion. And it's one of those things where I was happy not to have somebody I had to walk around with all the time, but at the same time, I was just man, we supported each other. We really helped each other along. And so I think one of my biggest struggles was having to take what I learned on my proselyting mission and try and move it into my service mission. And it didn't work all that great at the beginning, but we've kind of gotten the hang of it a little bit. And trying to find that the personal motivation and getting up and getting moving and finding that motivation with this purpose that I found as a service missionary.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I
Imagine
understand.
it.
Goes its way.
I just was gonna say that sounds super hard. I also struggle with it, but I never went on a proselyting mission, so I don't know the full effects of how that works. But yeah, I think having companions and having someone help you be accountable for yourself helps a whole lot. So
yeah, it's an interesting transition going from a teaching mission to a service mission, and because you just have so much more freedom as a service mission than you do as a teaching missionary, and so the transition is just so weird. I totally get it. But thank you again, Sister Jones, for joining us and for your wonderful answers today. And we've given you a lot of hard questions. Hopefully, this last one is going to be easy for you. It's our absolute 100% favorite part. We would like to ask you to share your testimony with us about service missions.
Oh man. I I have been so blessed to be able to be on a service mission. And I can it's been so cool to see um God's hand working in my life as I've um served him in a new way that I haven't really ever served before. Um and I would 10 out of 10 would recommend a service mission, because it's just been so cool, the opportunities that I've seen. And um I feel like maybe this sounds cheesy, but I feel like I have seen Jesus in the faces of the people I've served, and um I've seen him in everything that I do every day. And um it's just been such a blessing to my life, and the things that I've learned, and the opportunities that I've had um have truly changed my life for the better. And um I I have found a new purpose, and I found myself um, in God, and I found myself in the gospel. And it's just been a truly spiritual experience that's just been the funnest thing ever, and also the hardest thing ever. But um, great lives were never forged on the pathway of ease. And I think that's what the beautiful thing about life is, that we get to learn and grow and experience, um, and gain these awesome memories. And I would not trade my service mission experience for anything.
Thank you for that. Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have left for this podcast. So until next time, let's serve up some discipleship.
Hear this podcast. Your hosts were Elder Lewis and Elder Price. Your editor is me, Elder Gibby. If you want to see clips from the show or other service mission related content, please look for the Hands of the Lord Facebook page. If you want to ask your questions about service missionaries, email us at servingupdiscipleship@gmail.com. Thanks again for thinking of us, and we'll see you next time.